Intercom testing 1, 2, 3.
Yep.
Loud
Can you hear
and clear.
me?
Yep, loud and clear.
These are actually adjust each side individually.
Yep. So you can have it in stereo.
Yep.
Okay, so I'm
Cool.
going to quickly go to ground, tower, ATIS, and practice area, so they're already loaded.
All right, flaps were tracked. Check. Flight instruments. Zero, this needs to be adjusted a little bit.
We're going to listen to our ATIS information so we can get our barometric pressure.
2.21, altimeter 3004, expert visual approach runway 6. No TAMs, PAPI lights, all runways out of service. Caution bird activity throughout the airfield. All aircraft remain clear of Daytona approach control close Charlie airspace until 2 radio communication has been established with Daytona approach. Pleasant contact with Papa. Flagler County information, Papa time 1150 Zulu, wind calm, visibility 10, sky clear, temperature 2.21, altimeter 3004, expert visual approach runway 6. No TAMs, PAPI lights, all runways out of service. Caution bird activity throughout the airfield. All aircraft remain clear of Daytona
Okay,
approach.
so our barometric pressure is 3004, winds are calm, using 6. So we have information pop-up. Now we can expect then to get our taxi clearance, which will be Delta Echo cross 1129.
Roger that.
And we've gone down to runway 6 before, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so remember there's the designated run-up area there, so that's where we'll go to do that. All right, tell me when you think we're ready to go.
All right, avionics. Runway 6. We're ready to go.
Awesome. All right, so toes on your brakes, parking brake released. And let's see, did you adjust your DG? Directional gyro?
Oh. It didn't.
It says digital gyro, but that's the same thing.
Okay.
So
Well,
what is
that's
that?
260.
Yep. You know what, you might want to get in the habit of that's exactly right. Use your left hand for the left one and your right hand for the right one. Okay.
Cool. All right.
All right, go ahead and take your checklist and put it in the left pocket. You never want to set anything up here for fear that it would fall back on you when you were going to take off and then distract you. And that would be a critical point. That would be a problem, definitely.
Okay.
All right, so I'm going to give them a call. I'm going to verify I'm on ground 1. All right, remember it's the 3 W's. Good morning, Flagler Ground, Skyhawk 777 Hotel Echo, information Papa, Aeromoto, taxi to your active, eastbound departure please.
Skyhawk 777 Hotel Echo, Flagler Ground, good morning, taxi to runway 6 via Delta Echo, cross runway 11, winds variable 3 knots, altimeter 3005.
3005, we're going to runway 6 via Delta Echo, cross 1129. Hotel Echo. Okay, all yours.
Oh.
Yeah,
we
did have permission.
All right. I need to think about that more.
Even if they give us permission, we're still going to physically look just to make sure.
Yep.
Because you never know. Let's say somebody just took off and they had an engine failure and they were needed to just land right there.
Yep.
They may not have had time to communicate that.
Right.
So you want to make sure you're just aware of what's going on. Try to stay on that center line. Once you always challenge yourself to try and do that. Probably told you, you'll think I'm a center line Nazi after a while. But the first time we go to do our night flights, you'll understand why.
Yeah.
Because with your light, being able to see that center line, it'll keep you from going off the taxiway.
Roger that.
So you'll have that aha moment when we do our night flight.
Weather's looking good. Not seeing any fog.
Yeah, I think we'll be all right today. So this morning, you can kind of use your common sense on how you're going to enter into the run-up box. Because we don't need to position ourselves into the wind because the wind's basically calm.
Well, we should probably avoid running into the person that's in it.
Oh, I don't know. That could be fun. But I'll show you kind of what we'll do. I'll go ahead and take the controls.
Okay. Your controls.
My controls. Is I'm just going to position myself so that I can get out of the box more conveniently and efficiently. So I'm just going to use the best effectiveness here. I'm going to go in. And the way this particular run-up area is positioned and built, I'm just going to do this. I'm going to come right here. I'm going to go a little bit of an angle though, so that if somebody pulled up behind me, I wouldn't blow my prop wash on them.
Okay.
All right, so there you go. Your controls.
My controls.
Your controls.
All right, time for the run up. Flight instruments check set. All right. Parking brake set. Doors closed and latched, check. Flight controls free and correct. I'm having issues here.
Yeah, you'll have to adjust something so that you don't have that interference.
Does this seat go down or?
Yep, there's that crank right below your right knee.
Okay.
You should be able to get it to go down even though you're sitting on it. It's hard to go up when you're sitting on it.
All right.
All right.
All right.
Everything look good?
It's a little bit close, but
Okay.
maybe I can go down a little bit more.
Yep, be a good idea.
Maybe.
I think you're fine. I think it's good.
Okay.
Are you good with your toes on the brakes and everything?
Yeah.
Okay.
Oh, this is not the checklist. Oh. Alright. Run up. Flight controls free and correct. Fuel quantity check. Fuel selector valve both check. Mixture rich. Okay. Mixture rich. Throttle 1800. Alright, magnetos went down about 100 RPM. Went down about 90. Vacuum gauge check, we're pulling a vacuum in the green. Ammeter check at 0. Throttle okay, idle check. Okay. Mixture lean. Check. All right.
Okay. Stow your checklist and taxi on up to the hold short.
I feel like I need to come forward a little bit.
Yeah, you look like you're pretty far back.
All right, that feels good.
Okay.
Taxi to the hold short line.
Yep. And you're clear on the right.
Thank you. Looks like we have a plane on final, so.
Yep, there's several in the pattern already this morning. Everyone's taking advantage of the great weather. All right, let's do our lights, camera, action. So turn all your lights on. I'm going to switch to the tower frequency
Echo
meter right away.
Charlie Echo, Phoenix to Air 12.
Then we can close our windows. Okay, you ready?
Yeah.
Are you going to get your swig of vodka first?
I think I'll hold off on the vodka for now.
Okay, all right. All right, so if you're ready, I'm going to give them a call and tell them we are.
Okay.
When you hear them giving us our clearance for takeoff, as I'm reading it back, you don't need to wait to move. You can go ahead and push the mixture in and start moving out.
28, midfield left downwind, runway 6.
Phoenix 28, runway 6, clear for the option.
Runway 6, clear for the option, Phoenix 28.
Good morning, Flagler Tower, Sky 777 Hotel Echoes, number 1, holding short of 6 at Echo, we're ready for departure.
Sky 777 Hotel Echo, Flagler Tower, good morning, runway 6, clear for takeoff.
Runway 6, clear for takeoff, 777 Hotel Echo. So you should go mixture rich and then throttle.
7 Tango left.
Keep going, keep going.
Left traffic, 77 Tango.
Oh, Shane, now put your mixture rich.
Now.
Push the mixture rich. But what I was saying was when you hear me get that clearance for takeoff, push the mixture rich and start moving out. I want you to be, this is kind of one of those habit forming things.
Right.
If you don't get in the habit of pushing the mixture rich first, you know what's going to happen? You're going to forget it. Right. And you're going to go to take off and the engine's going to be sputtering. So.
Right.
All right, so keep it rolling. We want to make sure that we don't stay on the runway too long because there's someone behind us landing. All right, so get out to the center line, keep it rolling. Slide your heels to the floorboard so we don't touch the brakes. All right, let's get it nice and straight. Just on the center line, all right. A little more throttle. All right, now let's go. Nice and smooth, full throttle. You're very smooth with your rudder. You're a little bit herky-jerky yet, so you just want to smooth that out.
Roger.
Keep pushing the throttle forward. Don't let your hand off the throttle. Airspeed is alive.
Airspeed
A little bit of elevator pressure now, pulling back. Want your hand a little more firmly on the control like this. When we're taking off and we're landing, you need to make sure that you've got your hand firmly on there.
Okay.
When we're up cruising, we do want to have a light, delicate touch. But the critical phases of flight, takeoff and landing, definitely put your hand on there. All right, let's follow your heading of 060.
Number 77 Tango, runway 6, number 2, following Cessna, short final, clear for the option.
Number 2, runway 6 for the option, and we have traffic in sight, 77 Tango.
Follow your heading.
Skog 7 Hotel Echo, proceed on course, maintain VFR, leaving a Delta frequency change, approve, we'll talk to you later.
Proceed on course, maintain VFR. The frequency change is approved upon leaving Delta, 777 Hotel Echo.
Tower Phoenix at 12, Hotel at runway 6 at Echo, ready for departure.
Okie dokie. Now let's turn right to a heading of 120.
Right to 120.
Number 77 Tango, give me about an extra 3 seconds downwind, please.
Okay, continue downwind, 77 Tango.
120.
Yes. And we're going to try and climb to 3,000 or 4,000 feet. We'll have to see if we can get through the clouds to do that.
Okay.
Remember, on our first flight, when we talked about turning, you have to start leveling off before you get there? Okay.
Is it possible to get out somewhere? I'm going to have my solo. Phoenix Air 28.
Phoenix Air 12, runway 6, clear for takeoff.
Clear for takeoff, runway 6, Phoenix Air 12.
And Phoenix Air 28, you can jump out over at the runway 6 run-up area with the other instructor.
Thank you, Phoenix Air 28.
Let's turn left, heading 070.
All right, left heading 070.
Going to try and navigate our way through these clouds.
Tower 77 Tango, it's okay to start space?
77 Tango, yes sir.
Thank you, 77 Tango. Tower is left or right traffic?
Phoenix Air 12, left traffic.
Traffic, thank you. Phoenix Air 12.
Kind of a cool little extra twist to your flight today. We get to go bumping around up around the clouds.
Yeah, it's beautiful.
All right, so we're going to go to 4,000 feet.
Yep.
Go ahead and pitch for 75 knots. We want a little better climb rate.
I see my house.
654, about 7 southeast, 10 southeast.
Stay on your heading.
Bound for close traffic with Papa.
Phoenix Air 54, flag the tower, report 3 southeast, right down runway 6, I'll 005.
All right, I'm going to switch to the practice area frequency now.
100, emergency descent down to 1,000, look out below, distant traffic.
Very smooth air this morning.
Yes, it is. All right, let's turn left, heading north.
All right, left heading north.
Remember, we only want 15 degrees of bank angle.
Right there. Oh, I can remove my hand, right?
Yeah. It's not really a bad habit to have it on there all the time when you're climbing, but definitely between the ground and the first 1,000 feet, it's especially critical that you maintain maximum power.
Yeah.
So you just want to make sure it wouldn't vibrate out or something.
Traffic. Skyhawk is 1 mile north of the lake, over the fields, ground reference 1,000 feet, distant traffic.
I need to step on the ball here. Is that why I've been changing heading slowly over time?
So there's your altitude.
Okay.
All right, let's go back down to 4,000. If you need to adjust your trim wheel, go ahead and adjust that. Should just be a little bit. That was a whole lot. Whenever I adjust the trim, watch how I adjust it like that much at a time.
Okay.
Just a little bit.
Okay.
What will happen is if you do this, you're going to have it and you're going to be going gross adjustments.
Right.
And you're never going to get it right.
Okay.
So you just got to do a little bit at a time. All right, so that looks pretty good. Our power's a little on the high side. Looks okay. Now turn our cruise checklist is going to be turn all the lights off except for the beacon and the strobe. Okay. Then we've got the trim set. We've got the RPM set. We're going to lean the mixture. We'll go over this a lot more when we do our cross country, but the engine needs to be running efficiently, and if we have it too rich, there's going to be extra carbon and so on.
5,500, practicing deep turn.
There's a little bit of drop, bring it back. Okay. All right, so now, throughout these maneuvers, I want you to maintain 4,000 feet, okay? And we're going to be doing different things with turns and so on, but that's going to be our constant unless I tell you different.
Okay.
All right? Now the first maneuver, going to be steep turns. That's going to be a 45-degree bank angle. We're going to go all the way around, 360 degrees. The objective is to remain at the same altitude, a consistent bank angle, a consistent airspeed, and return to your original heading. That's what your goals are.
Okay.
All right. What we have, the aerodynamic things going on, when we're flying along, we have this horizontal lift. The wing provides that, or the airfoil. In order to make the airplane turn, we bank, and that brings us around. So that means we're trading that horizontal component in order to bank. So what happens then is, especially when we bank real steep, is that the airplane will tend to want to lose altitude. So we're going to add a few things to our flight so that we reduce that tendency. And you know from what we've talked about already, our objective is to make the airplane do all the work.
Yep.
So that's what our attempt is here, is to make the airplane do all the work. All right, so now another important factor is when we do steep turns, it's called a performance maneuver, because we will be putting an extra load on the wing.
Right.
So we want to be at an airspeed that's called maneuvering speed. We want to be at 100 knots. With you, it's a variable speed between 90 and 105. With you and I and the fuel load, probably right around 100 knots is where our maneuvering speed is.
Okay.
So we're just about there. We're going to give it a little more power. We want to start this maneuver right at 100 knots. You're doing great with your heading and your altitude. All right, so it looks like we're just about to 100 knots there. Okay. So I'm going to take the controls, my controls.
Your controls?
I'd like you to keep your feet on the rudder and keep your hand real lightly on the yoke so you can feel what I'm doing.
Roger that.
Okay? All right, so our 45 degrees of bank angle, there's 10, 20, 30, 60, 90. So in between those two bold lines.
Okay.
Okay? We're going to do one to the left and then one to the right.
Okay.
All right, so we're going to start our bank. We're going to add a little power. And then we're going to go 1, 2 on the trim wheel. Okay, so there is our 45-degree angle of bank coming up. Looks like we're climbing a little bit now, so I'm going to push on the yoke a little bit. All right, take your hand off the yoke. Now here's what my objective is on how I set the airplane up. pretty much the airplane is doing all the work itself, isn't it?
Yeah.
I'm having to change the control pressures just a little, but pretty much it's maintaining altitude, airspeed, everything by itself.
Yeah.
So the key is a little bit of power and a little bit of nose-up trim, and then we can do it pretty easy.
Yeah.
All right, so here comes our heading. Half of our bank angle, we start a rollout. There's our heading, and we're going back the other side. The key here also is not to spend too much time on the instruments, but rather to look outside and where the horizon is on the cowling. And that's what I'm using as my primary reference to whether or not I have the right bank angle and to whether I'm going up or down. If I look at my VSI and my altimeter too much, I'm going to be kind of chasing my tail.
Yeah.
So that's where we want our bank angle. Again, it's pretty much doing it itself.
Yeah.
We lost a little bit of altitude. I'm going to bring the nose up just a little bit.
We also gained airspeed.
Yeah, a little bit. When the nose goes down, you pick up airspeed. So now we're going to start our bank, reducing our bank, back to our original heading. And I'm going to reduce that power a little bit and take my trim back out. So now we should be returning back to normal cruise where we started.
4 miles southeast of Crescent Lake, practicing at 4,500.
Airspeed got a little low there. I think I pulled the power out too much. And adjust the trim most slightly. Okay, so your controls.
My controls.
Your controls. All right, let's get right at 4,000 feet and right at 100 knots and right at north. Okay, so when you're ready, get your hand on the throttle because we're going to bank left, start banking left, add a little throttle, and 2 movements of nose-up trim. 1, 2. All right, so now go to your 45-degree angle of bank. Look on the horizon on the cowling.
Of the middle of Lake Crescent.
And make really small adjustments.
Whoever needs to go, just let me know.
A little more bank angle, a little bit of left rudder. Just a little. Your nose is dropping, so you need to bring that up just a little bit. Start rolling out level, wings level. Remember, you have to glance down to the DG, push on that nose, keep going to the right. Keep going to the right. Look at the horizon on the cowling now. Go to 45-degree bank angle. Your nose is a little high. You need a little bit of right rudder. A little more bank angle. And look how that horizon is on the cowling.
Yeah. And that's how you can kind of determine whether your nose is up or down.
That's your primary source of information about your nose, high or low. You back it up with your instrument scan on your altimeter and your VSI.
Right.
But that's really your primary. All right, here comes your heading, so wings level. All right, push on the nose. And take your power back out and take your trim back out. Okay, get your trim back out. 1, 2. You want to be able to do that quickly because that'll keep you from climbing too much. All right, well, that wasn't too bad.
That was cool.
Let's turn left.
I definitely had the trim wrong because my hand hurts now.
Okay, so let's turn left heading 190.
Left 190.
A
little bit dizzy.
It's about 10 miles west, 5,500, practicing slow flight.
Definitely a little dizzy.
Crescent,
4
Now, you know when we made the left turn, we were getting ready to transition to the right turn, we felt that bump?
Yeah.
Do you know what that is?
No.
That's our wake.
Oh, okay.
So
yeah.
that's a good sign because we came back right in the same wake that we started.
Okay.
All right. When you're ready, let's try it again. Looks like you're at 100. You're at 4,000 and you're on your heading.
At 4,800, practicing slow flight.
Just remember with your rudder movement, it should be really subtle movement. Think of your rudder as not really moving the pedal, but just applying pressure.
Dog 458, Echo Romeo, miles northwest.
Okay, that's a little too much bank angle. That's why one of the reasons you're descending.
Flag to flag, White South Sky 50307, it's 7 miles west of flag, 4,500 northbound stall. Flag to flag, Sky 45 Echo Romeo, we're 4 miles east of Lake Caressa, 6,300 stalls northbound, Crescent Bugs area.
You may have started a little early in your rollout. Let's go ahead to the right. Remember that you start your rollout 1/2 of your bank angle. So if we're banking at 45 degrees, 22.5 before we get to our original heading is when we start to roll out.
Okay.
So that's what you're trying to picture on your directional gyro. So a little more bank angle, a little bit more nose up. There you go, push on that yoke. All right, and get your trim back out. And see, when you add your trim, you want to do it a prescribed amount so that you know exactly how much to take out when you get back.
Right.
Okay. All right, let's go back up to 4,000. We lost a little more altitude than we're supposed to, but you got to practice and get it tuned out. So.
And actually, I was surprised because it took me longer to realize we were losing that much altitude than I would have thought.
Yep.
I mean, we lost 200 altitude.
Well, one of the things that you have to be careful of, and one of the reasons that I focus looking outside, we really should be looking outside the aircraft 70% of the time, inside 30%.
Right.
This instrument here can be very misleading.
Right.
Because the vertical speed indicator has about a 3 to 5 second lag. So if you look at this too much, what happens is you're kind of chasing your tail because that's what happened 5 seconds ago. Okay.
Right.
All right, when you're ready, let's do it. Try it again.
All right.
Looks like our airspeed's a little on the low side.
Oh,
Let's get our airspeed up to 100 first. All right, go ahead.
Practice area, White Skyhawk, southwest corner of the lake, headed to Pearson, 1,000 feet, distant traffic.
Distant traffic, Skyhawk 429 Echo Romeo, 1 mile northeast of Distant Lake at 4,800 stalls.
A little more bank angle.
Calling out to the west.
All right, pretty good. Pretty good.
Lost a little bit there.
The things to work on now when we do them again is just to get everything real smooth. The word of the day is always smooth. All right, let's do one more.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready. Get your airspeed up to 100.
Practice area, line system Sky 50317, it's 4 miles east of the middle part of Lake Crest, 4,500 in news latitude.
Remember, a little bit more subtle on that rudder movement.
Jeez.
A little more right rudder. Keep an eye on your altitude.
Practice Star 404, Corbin to Spark across Charlie over the Pimlico base to 3,300, transition to northwest bound, I'm climbing 4,000. Morning, sir.
Okay, let's go back up to 4,000.
Headed out.
We'll work on that some more.
Okay.
We'll move on to something else for this morning so we don't get caught up in it.
Yeah.
And let's turn left to a heading of 120.
Left 120.
And 4,000 feet.
Riddle 429, are you in frequency?
This is Riddle 429.
Are you, yeah, you could start making it with.
Okay, there's your heading.
Clouds starting to roll in.
Riddle 429, yep, that's what I was planning on doing, starting my descent now.
See you.
All right, I'm going to show you slow flight dirty. Slow flight with all flaps.
Okay.
My controls.
Your controls.
All right, my controls.
Copy that carbon cap.
What we're going to do is maintain 4,000 feet. We're going to maintain our heading. And this will be a way to slow down and add our flaps and get our airspeed to what's determined as slow flight
09, are you in?
is 1.3 times our stall speed. Okay?
Go ahead and start
So our stall speed with flaps is 40 knots.
Clouds starting to roll in.
So 1.3 times that is 52. So our target airspeed is 52 knots. Okay?
Okay.
So I'm going to bring the power to 1800 RPM.
That's 458 Romeo 4 miles east of Lake Crest, 6,000.
10 degrees of flaps.
Emergencies.
Going to hold my altitude. And we're going to start to slow down. Each time that I'll enter or extend flaps, the airplane wants to balloon up a little bit. When I reach 80, I'm going to go 20 degrees of flaps. Avoid the balloon. The airplane's going to slow down.
Romeo.
At 70 knots, 30 degrees of flaps.
Daytona.
At 60 knots, I'm going to start adding a little power. Coming up on our target airspeed.
2 miles west of the lake, 2,500 feet eastbound, distant practice area.
I should be able to get it trimmed so that the airplane flies on its own. So that's kind of what we're looking at. Now the stall warning buzzer comes on 10 degrees before stall. So if we hear the stall warning buzzer, we're just a little bit slow. Okay? Alright, so right here is about our target. It's not too hard to do when it's real smooth.
Right.
When it's bumpy, it's a little more challenging. Alright, now the key here when we're going so slow is the controls will feel very mushy. So you have to be careful not to over control it because there's less air moving over the airfoil and thereby on the control surfaces. So you got to be real careful about that. So when we turn, we won't use 15 degrees of bank angle, we're going to use 5. So if we want to turn right to say 210, we'll establish that 5-degree bank angle. We'll turn to 210 and we'll complete our turn with just using 5 degrees of bank angle. Losing a little bit of altitude,
500 feet, maneuvering,
a little bit of power. There's that stall warning buzzer.
Currently about 5.5 miles south of Flagler, 4,300 feet, westbound on stall.
There's our heading. Got airspeed's real low there. So we're going to add a little power. That's going to correct that. Just going to be really delicate with it. Very patient. See, we're barely climbing.
Yeah.
And that's all we want to do. We don't want to do anything real dramatic. Give it a little more power. And a bit more. Oh, you want to have this a little tighter because it vibrates around if you have it too loose.
Yeah, okay.
So we're getting back to our original 4,000 feet. Airspeed's a little low. So I'm pitching for the airspeed and I'm adding power for the altitude.
Yep.
Change the trim just a little. It's all about really small changes. Alright, I'm going to turn left. And we'll go to 030. Five degrees of bank. Now we're climbing a little bit. We don't want to. So again, it's really, really delicate. You'll probably tell me once I give the controls to you that it kind of feels like you're sitting on a marshmallow. It's kind of mushy. Yep, now we're starting to climb.
So we're going like, well, I guess I could figure it out. We're going like 58 miles per hour.
Yep, pretty slow.
That's like, my bike goes faster than that.
Yeah. Alright, so once we do slow flight, we're going to practice that for a little bit. Whenever I give the controls back to you, then we're going to do a power off stall. So I'm going to go over that right now with you, and then we're going to return to normal cruise, and then I'll give you the controls. Alright, so how we do a power off stall is we initiate it, and then we make a correction. The recovery should happen fairly quickly. So I'm going to give you what the recovery is, and you can watch whenever I do it.
Okay.
The recovery is going to be pitching forward, full power, flaps 30 to 20. Then we begin to pitch up and climb at 62 knots. Once we get a positive rate of climb, then we start retracting the rest of the flaps just about 5 degrees at a time, just a little bit at a time. Okay? Back to our original altitude. When we get to our original altitude, we return to normal cruise. All right. So here's how we're going to do the stall, initiate the stall and recovery. We'll go mixture rich. I'm going to bring the power down just a little. We're going to initiate a descent similar to what would be an approach to landing. We're going to do it at about 65 knots. Again, you can see I'm just very slowly doing this, very subtle. Now we're about 150 feet off of where we started. Doesn't have to be exactly. It's just enough to say I'm established my descent. Now we're going to initiate the stall by bringing the nose up and the power out simultaneously. Not fast enough that we're going to climb. This is just like if we were over the runway and we were ready to land. Okay, stall warning, there's the brake. Full power, flaps 30 to 20. I pitched forward, got a lot of right rudder. Now I'm going to pitch up to climb at 62. Stay on my heading. Climb at 62, I've got a positive rate of climb. I'm going to take my flaps out just a little bit at a time. And you'll notice whenever you do this with your hands on the controls, that the control pressures change a lot when you start taking the flaps out. That's one of the reasons why you do it a little bit at a time, because I'm really pulling hard now. So now we're going to level off 4,000. We're going to let our airspeed build until it gets beyond 80. Once it gets beyond 80, then we're going to start reducing our power to the normal cruise, the 2200. Okay. And then all the while, if I need to change my trim, I will. I'm just barely changing it. So there, really, we come back to normal cruise. All right. So your controls.
My controls.
Your controls. Let's turn right, heading 170.
Right, heading 170. What did you mean when you said brake?
That means, did you feel the wings buffet just a little bit?
Yeah.
We heard the stall warning buzzer and then the wings buffet. That's stall right there, where the wings start to buffet. And that's why I said brake, so we're kind of pushing the nose forward. Now you notice I didn't push it so far forward that we started to face the ground or the water.
Right.
Sometimes people get a little bit overreactive and they want to just yank on that and push on it.
We kind of got to imagine we're close to the ground. We don't want to point to the ground.
Exactly. You got it.